A very good evening to you. I trust your weekend is going well. This is CTV PM Edition with me, Melissa Mboha, and Isaac Luchamuzi on sign language. In our top story tonight, the Prime Minister, Robina Nabanja, has visited Isimba Power Station in Kayunga District. The 183 megawatts plant was shut down on August 8th following operational challenges that led to the flow of water into the powerhouse. The details.
Lieutenant Kabira, the Minister of Energy and Mineral Development, announced early this month that the shutdown was undertaken as a safety procedure to ensure safety of staff and protection of the electromechanical equipment. Nabanja, who interacted with a team of engineers that are working to restore the dam's operations, says she's confident that they will be successful.
To access to the bottom here. This place is about, we are talking about maybe 13 meters down. So the contractor was able to come, but in the process, when we removed water here using the pumps, a few days later, some other water still was there.
She says Uganda is not planning to buy electricity, as some people have been alleging.
Monitor the power that we give out to Uganda.
Isimba Hydroelectric Power Station is a 183.2 megawatt station commissioned on 21st March 2019 in Uganda. Construction of this dam began in April 2015 and was completed in January 2019. Commercial operations began on 21st March 2019. Uganda generates about 1,300 megawatts of electricity, mostly from hydropower plants built along the Nile River. Another large dam, Karuma Hydropower Plant, is being built by China's Sino Hydro Corporation on the Nile and is expected to be commissioned later this year and will generate 600 megawatts. Nabanja also visited Kayunga Hospital. Recently, there are reports that some medical equipment was stolen from the hospital. The leadership of the hospital told Nabanja that a few equipment in the private wing was stolen. She said those behind the theft will be arrested and prosecuted. The medical superintendent, Dr. Robert Sentongo, told Nabanja that the hospital is grappling with the lack of medical staff due to the delay by the Ministry of Health to deploy them. Hope Nyangereza, CTV, PM Edition.
The resident city commissioner of Rubaga Division, Herbert Burora, has ordered for the arrest of all security officers, including military police officers who tortured the local council chairman of Zone 4 in Nakulabi. Pius Kitimbo, who was tortured by a team of security officers recently, is nursing his wounds in hospital. The details.
A few days ago, police and the military police carried out an operation in Zone 4 Nanklavie where they arrested and beat up the area local council chairman, Pius Kitimbo. Kitimbo was assisted to Mulago Hospital. After the incident, Herbert Burora, the resident city commissioner of Rubaga Division, convened a village meeting that was attended by various security officials.
Tuzikola ki ate nnyanya zino nga tetuzikozeeko ffenna wamu ffe tuyinza obutazikola ki obutazitegeera.
Residents accused security operatives for being harsh to residents during the operations.
Kyonna kyoko tubikola ki twakolako ono ku mugenzi kirumira mwakiraba kitwamukola bagenda naye n'ensiŋŋane zino bagenda tubako tetubateeka ne mu kkooti ffe maatugamba ne mutulimba emyaka gyonna gye mutulimbyemu mutugamba mujjattula muvumenti yabakyawa kuba nze mbakiikirira nga NRM flag bearer.
No gavumenti yange gyensinga okuwagira ku nsi ya Mukama ne Museveni waalisigalamu nga yenze nekisinga okunnuma tewali opposition mu bantu ba bulijjo ne opposition eri mu poliisi mu baki mu byobufuzi mu b'amagye lwaki gavumenti mugivumirira.
Other residents accused security operative of arresting innocent people. Residents say whoever is arrested has to pay a bribe to be released on police bond.
Abatambula abali ku midaala gyabwe nga babakuŋŋaanya nga babajjamu ssente. Bayimiridde ne boogera nti abatubba mu bitundu babamanyi era buli omu ayogedde erinnya lye mubayite bakwase ababbi babayite mujje
bakwate
atugamba nti poliisi yenkyamu ate kati kino ekikolwa ekyazze n'amagye gennyini ge gakikoze gagakuba omusajja chairman eyalondebwa ekyalo kino.
tulowooza bateekwa okubaawo ekyakwasiza chairman nga mulina ddiiru chairman gye yabadde abalemesa nga mmwe aba security.
Old Kampala Police DPC Lutambika apologized to the residents for the misconduct of security officers.
Teri muntu agenda kukozesa uniform ya government kebe ya police kebe ya maje okutuusa ebikolobero okuba nansi tekiriyo.
Kampala South RPC Gerard Tushime directed security officials to investigate crimes before carrying out arrests.
Ensobi zikolerwa naye ekyo kyo kyali kibi nnyo.
Yona Kanyomozi, the former Minister for Cooperatives in the Obote II government, has died. Kanyomozi, who was 81, died on Sunday afternoon at Nakasero Hospital in Kampala, where he had gone for a routine medical checkup, according to his friends. Kanyomozi served as the National Resistance Council member for Kajara County constituency in Intungamo district from 1980 to 1997, with a break between 1986 to 1987 when Parliament was in suspension. He became the Minister of Cooperatives from 1981 to 1985 under Obote's government, spearheading a great breakthrough in cooperatives that had collapsed during the 8 years of Idi Amin Dada. He also represented Busheni South in Parliament during the same regime. PM Edition returns shortly with more stories after the break.
Do you love me?
Very much.
I'll catch you one day, pants down.
I want to spoil you. I want you to eat my money.
She believes I'm in love with her guy.
Will you go? If I had to live everywhere I'm not loved, where would I end up? The dirty guy hides in the hospital for 40 years, but at night, he walks the streets, commits crimes, and then he comes back and pretends to be alive again.
I will break you, Spooky.
Do not answer any question about Roho kwa Roho. It's your brain!
Now showing on CTV. Don't blink.
Sometimes in life, we spend all the time trying to live other people's life. And along the way, we lose who we are by copying what other people are doing in their relationship.
You see, from the last time I met your sister, I've not spent a day or a minute without thinking about her.
It's a good surprise on a Monday. This is nice.
So you and him are
We're just friends. Wow. Come on.
just friends.
You either tell me where you're from or you go back to where you've been. Thinking it would work out for us, but yet to find out that's not who we are after experiencing a great disappointment.
She's in love with some other man, so classy, a gentleman, not poor dogs like you.
These are the mistakes girls do.
Now showing on CTV. Don't blink.
You are still watching CTV PM Edition with me, Melissa Mboha, and Isaac Luchamuzi on Sign Language. Moving on, the National Forest Authority and Kagadi district leaders, plus the residents, have embarked on an operation to rid the area of forest encroachers. This is part of their effort to restore all forests, including Kangombe and Bugoma Central Forest Reserves in Bunyoro sub-region. Take a look.
Kagadi Resident District Commissioner Benjamin Tumusime says wetlands and forests are being destroyed, which has diverse effects on the environment.
Wetlands, most especially na forests, ebi muliyoni mumaraho twastatererize enshongejo abana banya bamukuzara bugwano baretaho mishi nubuza kuba muturo mu desert Kagada.
Dr. Mwalimu Mosheshe, the Chief Executive Officer of URDT, said global warming and climate change are real and continuous encroachment translates into drought, poverty, famine, and destruction of the tourism sector.
Nothing, they cannot stop by themselves unless they get external force. So yes, we have had those situations, and in some areas, outright drought. Yeah, some areas actually the drought is unpredictable, and the cattle, sheep, goats also suffer besides crops, and it affects the water table. Some places, you find they had made a lot of lake on those.
The NFA Chief Executive Officer Tom Okello, who inspected Kangombe and Bugoma Forest, recently said over 70% of Uganda's forest cover has been depleted and stressed the values of wetlands and forests in the economic development of the nation.
The forest cover, I've already talked about the temperature here. Today the temperature here was 30 degrees centigrade, which was not heard of in those days when we had good forest cover in Bunyoro sub-region. So I want to call upon everybody. Let us embrace the forest conservation, let us embrace the restoration, but let us also strike that balance of making forestry contribute to the livelihoods of the people and to the economic development of our nation. Forestry is one of the key growth drivers for the country. Forestry can contribute to the livelihoods of the people. Through forestry can contribute to food security.
Recently, police mounted an operation to arrest forest and wetland encroachers. Dozens of people who settled in the wetlands and forests were arrested.
Crossing over to Kenya, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance has called off planned vigils that were scheduled to be held at the Supreme Court of Kenya and IEBC offices across the country as they are waiting for the Supreme Court's decision on their appeal. Take a look.
According to the timelines released by the judiciary, the hearing of Odinga's petition starts on Tuesday, August 30th, and the 7-judge bench of the court will deliver its verdict on September 5th, 14 days after the petition was filed. In a Sunday statement by Azimio Presidential Campaign Secretariat Press Secretary Dennis Onsangiro said their lawyer and the party leadership advised coalition members to stay calm and follow the proceedings and not necessarily through the staging of vigils. However, a scheduled church service at AIC Olympic went ahead as planned. Odinga said that the voice of the people of Kenya, as expressed on the 9th August, must be represented and warned William Ruto's coalition to stop discussing the matters of elections because they are in court.
What I'm asking for as Raila Amolo Odinga is to be told the truth. And this is not just because of the elections of 2022. It's for posterity. We don't want to go into an election and see the kind of charade that we're seeing today. Mr. Chebukati, the chest stamping the other side with its 2 other commissioners, and then the other 4 commissioners this other side. It's a shame. Shame to democracy. Shame to the world. These are things that we don't want to see. There's what is called civilian coup. These people are trying to stage a civilian coup.
Kenya Kwanza leaders attended church in Bungoma County. Ruto said blackmail, threats and intimidation did not stop IEBC to declare the choice of the people, and he is confident that even the courts of law won't bow to intimidation.
Bribery, intimidation, blackmail
did not sway the voters. Bribery, intimidation, blackmail did not sway IEBC. We are confident that blackmail, bribery, intimidation will not sway our courts. Our courts have demonstrated their independence in the past. We have confidence. And I want to give assurance that we will continue to build the independence of all our institutions so that they can guarantee the right of everybody, irrespective of who they are, where they come from, which religion they profess, or which political party they belong to.
This comes after IEBC chairperson Wafula Chebukati accused Vice Chief of Defense Forces Lieutenant General Francis Ogola, Inspector General Police Hilary Mutiambai, Solicitor General Kennedy Ogeto, and Principal Administrative Secretary in the Office of the President Kennedy Kihara, among top national government officials who were reportedly coercing him to moderate the presidential results in Odinga's favor or declared a runoff poll, seemingly in national security interest, which he objected.
On the regional scene in Libya, the clashes between rival factions vying for the control of the country erupted on Friday and continued during Saturday. Meanwhile, thousands of Angolans have paid tribute to former President Jose Eduardo dos Santos, who died on July 8th in a clinic in Barcelona. The details.
6 hospitals were hit and ambulances were unable to reach areas affected by the clashes, according to the health authorities. Omar Reheba, member of the Council of Elders at Tripoli Municipality Council, reminded groups that are fighting of the prohibition of bloodshed and intimidation of civilians, and that legal and criminal prosecution will affect everyone who was the cause of the situation in Tripoli. Abdul Hamid Deiba's Government of National Unity, GNU, installed a part of the United Nations-led peace process following a previous round of violence, is challenged by a rival government in the east of the country, led by former Interior Minister Fathi Bashagha. Bashagha, who is backed by Libya's parliament, and eastern-based military strongman Khalifa Haftar, says the GNU's mandate has expired. So far, he has been able to take office in Tripoli, and Deiba has insisted on only handing power to an elected government. In Angola, the funeral procession left the Dos Santos family home in Luanda, traveling through the city to the Republic Square, where the burial will take place on Sunday. Jose Eduardo dos Santos was 79 years old and died following a long illness. He ruled Angola for almost 40 years. On the streets of the capital city, many remember him fondly. One participant in the tribute said he was a great president of the MPLA, a great president of the Republic. The former president will be buried with full military honors in a ceremony that will be attended by representatives of 18 countries, including former colonial power Portugal and the UN. It was a quiet and discreet tribute to former President Jose Eduardo dos Santos before a state funeral on Sunday.
In the international news, Pakistan is appealing for further international assistance as floods devastate the country, leaving people searching for higher and drier ground. And Russia's plan to expand its armed forces is unlikely to have an impact on the Ukraine war, the UK's Ministry of Defense has said.
The death toll from the monsoon rains has reached 1,033, with 119 killed in the last 24 hours, the National Disaster Management Authority says. The US, UK, UAE and others have contributed to a disaster appeal, but more funds are needed, officials say. Interior Ministry officials say the country was desperate for international support. According to the ministry, funding from a lot of development projects had been rerouted to the affected people. According to reports, Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has announced a grant of $45 million for those in the most affected Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. Every flood-affected family would be given $112, which will be disbursed within a week. In the northwest of the country, thousands of people fled their homes after rivers in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa burst their banks, causing powerful flash floods. The province of Sindh in the southeast of the country has also been badly affected, with thousands displaced from their homes. The needs of the survivors are varied. In one village we visited, the people sat there desperate for food. In another, they say they've got their grains, but they need money to meet their other needs. Vladimir Putin recently signed a decree to increase the Russian armed forces military personnel to more than 1.15 million, a potential increase of 137,000. But the Ministry of Defense said the boost was unlikely to increase Russia's combat power, partly because of ongoing losses. President Putin's decree came amid a military recruitment drive. There have been reports that recruiters have even been visiting prisons, promising inmates freedom and money. Currently, Russia has a limit of just over 1 million military personnel, plus almost 900,000 civilian staff. In one of its regular updates on the war, the UK ministry said it was not clear if the planned increase would be achieved by recruiting more volunteers or by increasing conscription. But any increase was unlikely to have an impact in Ukraine, given that Russia had lost tens of thousands of troops. Very few new contract servicemen are being recruited. Western officials say some 70 to 80,000 troops have been killed or wounded since Russia invaded Ukraine 6 months ago. Russia planned a short, decisive campaign when it invaded Ukraine in February, but Ukrainian resistance has stalled its progress, and in recent weeks, front lines have hardly moved.
We return shortly with more news from the world of sports.
CTV is now on StarTimes. You can now catch all your favorite programs, our daily comprehensive news bulletins, and so much more on StarTimes channel number 248. Stay tuned for a world of endless possibilities. CTV. Don't blink.
Welcome back to CTV PM Edition with me, Melissa Mboha, and Isaac Luchamuzi on sign language. In the world of sports, Alan St. Maximin volleyed in a brilliant 90th minute equalizer as Newcastle extended their unbeaten start to 4 matches and kept winless Wolves in the bottom 3, while West Ham earned their first win of the season as they defeat Aston Villa at Villa Park.
Well, they're working their way through the spaces. West Ham, an opportunity